morning, guys. Tracy here, Kansas Garden Guys, Summer Pick Farms. How are you guys doing today? As you guys notice, I am off to an early start this morning. I've already picked okra this morning. Okra is looking amazing. It's sad to say it is a little sparse now. Flowers are amazing, but we didn't pick that much today. Usually I try to pick a couple 5-gallon buckets a week. It looks like we've got probably about, I think I filled up 3 gallons is what I did on my tote. So it's getting to be that time of year. It's the middle of September. It's not going to take long before that stuff's gone. Kind of makes my heart hurt a little bit because I love okra and a lot of people around here like to buy it from us. But just want to show a couple things. We still have cherry tomatoes coming on. This is what we picked last night. I still have probably double this in green still up front or on the vine. So hopefully that keeps producing for the next month or month and a half or so before the freeze comes, so possibly we can get some awesome cherry tomatoes to you guys. Like I said, a lot of you guys that watch my videos are buyers from us. I mean, look at the size of these cherry tomatoes. These things are amazing. They still amaze me how beautiful these things are. You know, we've got the black cherries, of course, and the large red. That black cherry's got a little split on it. Some of these, we had some splits from the rain that we got the other night, so I kind of went through and picked everything pretty much last night, and some of them, I guess, had some splits on them. But as you can see, the black cherry tomatoes, they look awesome. But anyway, you guys, that's not what we're talking about today. What we are going to do today is I posted a video to show what was going on in the future market garden where the hoop house is, and I talked about our sprinkler system that I use, our overhead sprinkler system for watering. And I put down, or I said, if you guys want to see me build that, I had one more I needed to build, just leave a comment down below. And I had a faithful viewer comment and said, I would love to see how that is done. So today, what we are going to concentrate on today is we are going to build that for you. Whether you want to see it or not, you're going to get it. Oh yeah, before we walk out to the garage, I want to show you guys the lettuce. I've had the lettuce sitting out for about 5 days now. Sits on a table on my back porch. When the sun comes over, it kind of shades this little area. In the morning, they get some sun. In the afternoon, when the sun is really high up, it gets a little bit of shade. I pull this table out so I can get a little sun. But as you can see, the Tehama is looking amazing. I've got 3 trays of Tehama and 72 count tray. So what is that, like 230, 240 Tehama plants? And Tehama is actually like a head lettuce. And then I've got, I put the arugula outside. I've got some Harmony lettuce, which is actually head lettuce. And I don't know what this is. Oh, this is broccoli. Some broccoli. Some more broccoli. It's just what I had left over the seeds. Yesterday we did plant some cabbage in the kohlrabi out, and I'll show you that while we're out of the garden. That's what we're actually building. The irrigation section for today is for the kohlrabi and the cabbage. But that's just a quick loose of what's going on here. Like I said, I've got stuff downstairs. We've got onions downstairs. I've got Swiss chard downstairs. I've got red Russian kale downstairs. I've got lacinato kale downstairs. So we've got lots of stuff that's getting ready to go into this hoop house. And if you haven't watched that video series, I just put out the 3rd one this morning. I think it's going to be a 5-part series. I've got 3 other videos showing what we did to get to this stage of the hoop house. It looks amazing, doesn't it? I cannot say amazing enough. Amazing. But anyway, we're going to walk down to the garage, and then we'll pick it back up there. All right, we're in the garage. You got to excuse the door's a little loud. I did spray it. As you can see, I've got the old Ford in here. It's my side hustle. I'm doing a whole complete front suspension swap, brakes, shocks, fluid change, replacing the carpet, everything. That's on another channel. But anyway, what we are going to concentrate on today is the irrigation system. So let me show you what I've got here. What we are going to bring with us is, all of this came from a local home improvement store. I'm not going to say which home improvement store it was, but it's the one with the green and white sign. So I've got sprinkler heads, I've got risers, and I've got electric fence posts. I figured out that was the easiest way to zip tie what I needed to the post. You'll see. That way it holds them in the ground. Let me get all this stuff riled up. Let me get it put into a bucket so I can drag it out there, and then we'll pick it back up. Okay, guys. I've got everything spread out on the ground here, what we're going to use. Like I said, all this stuff is basically just lawn irrigation pop-up sprinkler heads that you could buy at any home improvement store. So there shouldn't be a problem with any of you guys getting these products. And the reason why I went with these products, if you say that maybe I spent too much money, maybe, you know, anything like that, to be honest, this is the cheapest route you can go compared to some of the other options. As you guys know, if you guys watch my other videos, you know that I use underground drip irrigation also. In this area of the garden here, I was not going to use underground drip irrigation to feed radishes or anything like that because it's such a crop that comes out so fast. So everything is overhead watered. The only thing that I will run underground irrigation on is stuff like squash and zucchini, tomatoes, of course, my peppers, maybe some lettuces and stuff. Inside the hoop house, I'm going to do drip irrigation. I'm not going to do overhead on it, of course, so I can keep the water off the plastic. But everything out here, broccoli, kohlrabi, radishes, and beets, they can be watered overhead because they're a root crop. But that's not what we're talking about. So if you guys notice on my system, I've got 7 risers with 7 pop-up tops. And then I've got irrigation pipe in between. This is a very cheap system. I'm probably into this whole thing, all 3 rows. And you got to remember, my beds are 65 feet long. Don't ask me why I did 65. I just did. Most people do 50-foot beds. I did 65. I bet you I've got $125 in all of these. And that's everything. We're talking, you know, 21 sprinkler heads, all the risers, all the plastic, everything we need to get this done. So let's get started. What we've got is we've basically just got the Orbit 15-foot, and this is what you're going to look at right here. This is a 360 directional sprinkler head, which means it pops it out 360 degrees. You can get them 180, you can get them 90, you can get them 45, you can get them 15 degrees, so they only go one different direction. I've bought all of those, which I have sitting over here. I do not care for them. They tend to leak a lot, and they tend to spit, so I replaced all those with the 360 degree. So these are just made by Orbit. They are a 2-inch pop-up sprinkler. I gave less than $2.50 a piece for these pop-up sprinkler heads. I know, I would have thought, these are the ones you actually bury. I would have thought that they were $7, $8, $9 a piece. That's why you see a lot of people use what they call wobblers, which are they glue it on PVC pipe, and then they have a wobbler where the water shoots up and it's got a little spring in it, and it just wobbles and kind of shoots the water all around. I was going to go that route till I found out that how expensive the wobblers were online. This is actually cheaper, and you can't find wobblers here in my town. My town's got 100,000 people in it, and I could not find any place that sold wobblers. To me, that's not worth it, because if I need to replace something, I have to order it online. If I need to fix my water irrigation, I need it fixed 5 minutes ago. I don't need it fixed 3 days later. So I went with this route, less than $2.50. It also, when you do this system, you can do it in a glue type with PVC, which I did first, and then I did not like it, so I took the PVC apart and went this route. I just used plain old irrigation pipe. I bought 3/4 inch irrigation pipe at 100 foot long in rolls for $16 a roll of 100 foot. I could use a roll and a half to do all this. That's amazing for the price. So what that enabled me to do is use a blue lock key system, which, if you notice, it's a press in system. You just press your pipe in and it holds it. You have to buy these keys separate, which I use a lot on my plumbing on my house. I use a lot of shark bite, stuff like that, which you guys are probably familiar with. You put the key around it, and as you press this in, it actually goes inside of that. Oh, I got the wrong one. Actually goes inside of it and pushes those little fingers, if you guys can see that, and that releases the pipe. So this could be used time and time and time and time again. I mean, there's unlimited amounts of time that you could use this. I think these fittings were less than $2 a piece. And then I've got the ends that I can cap the ends off, and I think these were like 49 cents a piece. And then, of course, the tool I think was a couple bucks, but you'll reuse that. And it actually fits 1 inch and 3/4 inch pipe. They have it all the way down to, I think, 1/2 inch pipe also. The most expensive part of this kit was this, if you guys can see this. This is a garden hose adapter. So what this does, what you'll have to do on the end of your lock system here, you'll have to put a piece of irrigation pipe. You'll have to put a coupler onto this, so you could run a piece of 3/4 PVC about 6 inches,
and then put a screw-on piece here that adapts it from 3/4 over to garden hose thread. So you can screw this adapter on here like this. Of course, you're going to use pipe thread, a sealant, or the tape. I use the tape because it's cheap. I have sealant also. And then that gives you the ability to hook a garden hose to the end of it. So that way you can unhook or hook a garden hose or set up valves, however you want to do to make the system work. And that is what I did. Like I said, I've probably got less than $125 in everything I've got for all 3 systems. So, oh, and the other thing is I use these risers. These are 18-inch risers, and they're threaded at both ends. So what that enables me to do is I can thread the wobbler top on the top like this. And then with my 90, or my my elbows, if you notice, it's threaded on the top, and it's blue locked on the sides for the irrigation. So that enables me to thread this pipe into my coupler like so. And then I just run my irrigation pipe out the top, and this is what sits on the ground that you're seeing. I use these electric fence stakes. You can use T-posts, you can use whatever you want. These are less than 50 cents a piece at my local home improvement store. So I use these. I put these in the ground. I put these posts on top, you know, next to it. And then I just put a couple zip ties to hold that post on. And so far, it seems to work great. Let me give you a walk around of what we got, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. As you can see on this system, I've got the collard greens here. You guys know I've got radishes and broccoli sprawled out there. So here's the system. There's my garden hose screwed into that garden hose adapter, which this was the most expensive part. Like I said, I think this was $5 or $6. There is the thread adapter, the piece of PVC, that collard blue lock, and the irrigation. There's the post. You can see it in the ground, the riser, and the pop-up head. That's it, guys. That's exactly the whole system. I've got 10-foot spacing between these. The reason why I have 7, you're asking, okay, well, Trace, if you do the math, your beds are only 65 foot long. These are 15-foot sprinklers. You technically would only need 5 of these to cover everything. And yes, that is true. 5 of these are more than 65 feet. If I believe so, my math is correct. 5, 6, 5. I think it's almost right at it. My water pressure here out in the county where I live is not very high at all. So it works great for drip irrigation because you'd only need 10 pounds of pressure for drip irrigation. I bet you I have 35 or 40 pounds of pressure. I've talked to the county more, and they said I'm the only person that's ever complained about it because I'm the only one around here that gardens like this. So obviously nobody complains about it. So he said, well, I really can't fix a problem when you're the only one complaining. So what I've done is I've just added 2 more sprinklers to make 7 all the way down. Let me turn this on, and I will show you guys what's going on. So what I've got is I've got my new faucet. I didn't do a video on this, but we replaced the faucet that was here because it was broke. That was a nightmare if you got, and then I've got the other valve set to water the sprinkler head. So let me turn this on, and we'll walk down. I'll show you exactly what it looks like, and then we'll start putting this together. Okay, as you can see, it's starting to pop up. Can you guys see that? I mean, with the sun, hopefully you guys can see how that works. So what I've got it set at is I've got it set at every 10 feet apart. There you go. Maybe you guys can see that better. There you go. And 10 feet apart on these beds. So as you can see, if we're standing here in front of this line, this one set of sprinklers is half of this bed, this whole bed, and almost this whole bed. So my thought process is one set of sprinklers is going to do 2.5 to 3 beds. I've got another set here that's going to do this bed and then catch up whatever it doesn't catch on this one here. And then my next set of sprinklers is going to go right here in front of this karabi right here. So that way it can catch this bed, the other half of this bed that this one is missing, and this bed here, and not spray so hard to spray on top of the high tunnel plastic. I've got this area here plasticed off, so I am going to put benches along this row here, and I've got another 3-foot section into the high tunnel that's sectioned off.
I've got this section here so I can build benches so I can do all my seed starts right here, and to put 4 65-foot beds in here. I may be able to put 5, but I think 4 is where it's going to go. And then that gives me a walkway back here to run my drip irrigation down the plastic and have the hoses run out of the corner of the hoop house here through a gate to irrigate this stuff out here. And I could walk around back here and then walk down my rows. But as you can see, guys, it waters. I mean, the water's coming all the way out to here, which I wanted to make sure I covered these beds. But as you can see, it does a very good job for what it is. Now, if I had better water pressure, this thing would probably spray the total 15 feet out. But since I don't, this is kind of what I'm dealt with right now. Okay, and the other thing I was going to say is I've got my 100-foot irrigation pipe, my 3/4 inch irrigation pipe. As you guys can see, there's the pipe. It's just 3/4 inch irrigation, 100 psi pressure. Like I said, this stuff is only $16 for 100 foot. It is dirt cheap, and it's reusable. I thought about doing like PVC, but you have to cut to fit it, and then if I have to move it, that's a big mass, 65-foot long, massive glued pipe to work with. This is so much easier. So what I would recommend is I would recommend doing what I did. I set this pipe out for about a week in the sun to kind of get the memory off of it because it's wound up pretty tight. So what we're going to do is we are just going to double check the distance, which I assume is 10 feet. I just want to make sure my memory serves me right. It's 10 feet is the distance between the center to the center. It's actually 9/6 pieces. And every good farmer slash gardener slash country boy should have his trusty pocket knife in his pocket. And this is what I cut my irrigation pipe with. So let me get those pieces cut and then we'll get this put back together.
Life in a world that keeps changing. Think that it's progress you're making. Copy and paste pretty faces all the time. Pictures so perfect we play through, only cause you set up the angle. Web that you weave got us tangled, caught in what's before our eyes. Show off your fantasy reality. Whoa, that's yours, but I'll keep doing mine.
You know, as you can see, guys, this is pretty easy stuff here. Let me get the camera down here so you guys can actually see what's going on. All I'm doing is I'm looking at my next row up, and I'm not measuring this. Roughly it's 9/6, 10 foot. All I'm doing is I laid the pipe out here. I'm looking down my row, looking up my row, seeing where my risers are, and figuring out, okay, well, I am going to put this riser right here. So I just take my pocket knife. Literally, it's this easy. Just cut your pipe. You could definitely use anything you wanted to. That's all I'm doing. And these just push on. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. See, you can even turn these things. Now, I wouldn't go crazy because those teeth will mar up the pipe. But you can turn these. That's why I'm not really paying attention what direction these are going, because I can just turn them as I needed. And I'm looking, okay, so I'll probably add this little bit of pipe to it, and then I'll come over here and I'll say, all right, well, I want to go ahead and add this much. So I'm going to cut the end off here just like that, and this is where I'm going to glue that coupler with the piece of PVC pipe and the hose adapter to this. So let's get that stuff going. Okay, I'm going to take a step back real quick and just talk about something. I just thought of something. Maybe some people have never done any type of PVC work and don't really understand what I'm trying to do here. Okay, to get stuff to be watertight, you can either A, use a glue, which is made specifically for PVC, or you can use tape. Basically, what this is just a PTFE white tape. You use it for all your plumbing or anything like this one that's actually kind of jacked up. There we go. Use it for your threads. And what that does is it helps with a watertight seal. Sometimes it's supposed to be 100% watertight. It just depends on how good you put it on and how thick you put it on. But we've got threads on both sides, and then we've got threads here, and we've got threads in here. So we want to make sure if we can keep this watertight, we'll have the best pressure.
So what you want to do is that this is the confusing part for some people. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. If you turn right, which is clockwise, that should tighten. As you can see, I'm tightening, I'm going clockwise. If you go counterclockwise, that should loosen. So what you want to do is you want to put the tape in the direction that you're turning. I don't want to put the tape going counterclockwise and turn it clockwise because it will take the tape off. So what you want to do is you want to take the tape, put it on your threads, going that direction, go clockwise with it. I would do 3 or 4 passes just like this. And what that does is that puts the tape in the clockwise motion. So when you screw your thing, if you notice, when you screw that on, it does not take the tape off. And you don't have to, this is not Hulk Hogan, Randy Macho Man Savage happy hour here. You just snug it. That's it. Do not crank it. You will break this. I cannot stress that enough. It's like putting an oil filter on a car. You do not crank the oil filter down. You are not doing anybody any good by doing that. You're causing more heartache and more damage than what you would if you would have just left just hand tighten. This is all hand tighten stuff, guys. I mean, there's no sense in cranking these on. So all we're doing is we're going to put something. This stuff does not stick very well, so you have to make it stick on itself. So all we're doing is just putting a couple rounds on here. And then what we are going to do is we're going to screw this into the riser. So let me get these made up, and then we'll go over there and I'll show you that. Okay, guys, I had to go get me a piece of PVC pipe. So what I did is I just cut one about 12 inches long here. I glued one side to this, and then I was going to show you what we did on the other. What you want to do is you want to use a cleaner, which this one's a popular brand. It's Odie. It's the brand that everybody carries. You've got a cleaner and a glue. So what you want to do is you want to put the cleaner down, which happens to be purple. You want to clean both sides really good. So clean the inside of this good. Let it dry a couple seconds. It'll dry fairly easy. Take your glue. Put some glue on the inside. Glue on the outside of your pieces. Now remember, these are going to stick together pretty easy. So what I do is I usually put the pieces together like this. I give it a turn, about a 20-30 degree turn, and I let it sit. What I'm doing is I'm just turning it and getting that glue moved. So you can notice that's tight now. That's all you've got to do. So go ahead and tighten your containers back up. And then we are going to get some tape on the threads here so we can put the whoop, that one's the one that's gone. We can put the garden hose thread on it. Now remember, this is going to thread, this is going to thread in a clockwise rotation, so you want to make sure you put your pipe dope on clockwise, so you're turning into it and not turning against it. All you've got to do, it's a little bit to get used to at first. Oh, see, this is what you don't want to do. Done. Okay, guys. I've got everything laid out, my stakes, my risers. Excuse me. All we're going to do is get these put in. Simple, easy peasy, lemon squeeze. And I'll save that piece for another adapter. It comes off just that easy, guys. So we're going to go ahead and just push this together. Boom, done. So now I'm going to lay my pipe up against this row. I'm going to turn this one. I'm going to screw my riser in just like so. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. Just like so. Just hand tighten that riser in. Take my stake, and I'm going to push it down into the ground just so the stake is below the surface. And you got to remember, when you cut these in half is what I do because these things are so long. You've got to make sure you file the top. I have a grinder on a base, so I went ahead and ground the tops. That way, you're not getting your hand on it and cutting your hand wide open. That's the last thing you want to do. Grab a couple zip ties. I use zip ties for ease of convenience. You could use string or twine or anything if you were worried about the plastic. Some people are, some people aren't. Convenience is what I work for. And what we'll do is we'll come back on the way back and tie these off. All right, and then all I'm doing is coming back down the line. The reason why I don't cut them off at the time is I can cut them off and start walking the line back. So that way I can double check everything, make sure I still have everything hooked up. As you can, the sprinklers that I think that are crooked, like this one I know for sure is crooked. And I'll push it. Then we'll go back down the line. That looks fairly straight. This one's still a little crooked. That one I'm going to keep. I'm going to push this one back. But it looks fairly straight. So let's get the water shut off to this. And then we'll get the hose hooked up on this one. So now, if you guys come down this line, you can see where it's hitting this whole bed almost right here, all the way down. See? That's exactly what I want. I want it to clear the bed, as you can see on the plastic that's wet, but it's not spraying the side of the hoop house very far. So we're going to be able to water that bed, which will have carrots in it, if I believe so, is what I'm going to end up putting there. And then it's going to water this bed, and it's going to water the other 3/4 to half of this bed. And then when this one is on, it will overlap and water that bed. So I'll be able to have all 3 of these watered. Looks cool, don't it? Like I said, probably $35 worth of material for each line. That's counting all the pieces and all the heads. And I always buy 3 or 4 extra sprinkler heads, a couple risers, and this extra pipe that I've got laying around. Because to be frugal, you guys have to remember, you know, I live 25 minutes to 30 minutes away from my nearest home improvement store. So you're talking a 30-minute drive there and a 30-minute drive back. That's an hour. You're talking at least $10 in gas with my old Chevy pickup getting there and back, or maybe more. So I can't afford to break a $2 sprinkler head and then have to drive back to Topeka to pick up a $2 sprinkler head. So I always keep 5 or 6 extra in my kitty, so that way if I need to replace one, I come out here and I find out one of these is messed up for some reason. These can be rebuildable, but for $2, I just swap it out. But other than that, guys, I mean, that's cool, isn't it? Isn't that cool? Actually, we are going to take this apple tree down this year because this apple tree has had a lot of disease and a lot of misfortune, been struck by lightning. I've cut half of it down that's rotted. We're going to go ahead and take this apple tree down. We're going to trim some of the leaves off of this cottonwood tree, and then I'm going to put another set of beds, hopefully 10 more beds right here. And then that is going to be our market garden. And then next year, like I said, I have 5 acres here, so I have plenty of room to expand. Next year, what we're talking about doing is getting some dirt work done also right here possibly. If we can get some dirt work done right here, I could either A, put some more market beds in here that I could put my squash, my zucchini, maybe some pumpkins, stuff like that that's got a lot of bug pressure on it and keep it away from the garden. But guys, that's all for the video today. If you like these videos, make sure you like. If you're subscribed to this video, you're awesome. If you're not subscribed to this video, you're still awesome. But you could be awesomer, awesomer, whatever, if you subscribe.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and share with friends. If you know somebody that's a garden junkie just like we are, make sure you share these videos on your Facebook page. I mean, that would be awesome to have other people from other parts of the country chime in on what I'm doing here to see if it helps them, or maybe they can help me on some stuff. You guys also remember we have a Facebook page. It's just Summer Pick Farms. Join the Facebook page, give us a big like. You'll see what we're going to get done for this year, when the fall crops are coming in, when the hoop house is going to get done. Until then, guys, be careful, God bless, and be safe. Bye.